Hi, Amanda here again. You'll have to forgive me for the maybe not so great video quality display. I'm doing this off my phone. I haven't yet got all the right filming equipment or anything like that, but as I progress, I may look into that if this quality doesn't seem to improve or be effective enough. Let me just do this. That's a little bit annoying, isn't it, that light? I'm just going to pull my curtain. Hang on a sec. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Not so much. I'll just sit like this. Alrighty. So, hi everyone. Welcome. Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you all about, more specifically about when I have gone through my depressive episodes, what I've done, how I've felt, firstly how I've felt, the thoughts that have gone accompanied the feelings, because they're very, whilst they kind of change, ebb and flow, there are a set, for me anyway, there's like a kind of a consistently relentless, very relentless set of thoughts and feelings that go along, that tend to last the duration of my depressive episode until eventually I lift out of it. It is a progressive thing. However, what I want to stress, what I really need to stress, is that there is hope. There is always hope. It doesn't have to be forever. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. There is always, there's always going to be improvement, even if you can't see it straight away, even if you don't feel it. There will be little moments of reprieve, pockets of reprieve, and gradually they will get more and more frequent, and there is always, always, always a way through this. I'm living proof. I'm living proof. I've been through it a number of times, and they do get somewhat easier to manage. Yep, they do, definitely. They do. And the more you get to know yourself and know your triggers and know what works for you, the better off you'll be, and the easier it will be to manage, because it is something that you sort of have to manage, a bit like having diabetes or any kind of illness or imbalance. There's always, if there's not a cure, which sadly they haven't really designed a pill that magically makes it disappear. It would be nice if they did. However, there's always, it's about managing it, and it's definitely possible, definitely. So for me, normally how they start off is I have quite a quick motor naturally, like a quick way about me. I tend to do things, I just have a fast engine, if you like. I tend to get it easily excited, easily revved up, easily anxious, overwhelmed. Yeah, I don't tend to cope too well with too much pressure and stress. So I know that about myself. I've learnt that over the last 32 years, and I try to keep my life, I try to keep things as stress-free as possible, or minimize unnecessary stress, let's put it that way. So how do I experience it? I guess to start with, I get anxious. I'd say I naturally have a tendency towards anxiety. I've got a little bit of an anxious disposition. People may not realize it, because I can come across pretty calm to others, even when I'm not feeling calm. I have that weird ability, if you like, facade. Yeah. And people buy it. They think that I'm a lot more maybe onto it and calm and confident than I actually feel. And that can be a good thing. It works to my favor, in my in my favour, to my advantage. However, sometimes you're like on the inside, you're screaming and you're like, this isn't how I feel. I'm not coping, or I don't feel I'm coping like I'm coping. But I always manage to, and you can too. So yeah, for me, the episodes, if you like, for lack of a better word, the phases, the periods I go through, always start off with heightened anxiety. I start thinking ahead and my thoughts racing ahead, overwhelming myself with what I've got to do, what isn't in my life, if I'm going through any big change, moving city, which I've done quite a few times. So I actually do cope well with change. However, there's always an adjustment period, like with any change. So where was I going with that? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, it always starts with heightened anxiety, particularly around any change that's up that I know is coming up, or change that I am trying to initiate. It starts with like I can feel myself, and I don't tend to, in those moments when I know I could bring myself back down to a more even keel, I don't always tend to recognize it when I'm heading that way. I just kind of run with it, and that's when I almost just like I've gone too far, or my anxiety's reached a point where it's harder to bring it back down myself. So then what ends up happening is I sort of physiologically I'm exhausting my adrenals. I burn them out. They shut up shop. They get tired. They get drained. They get depleted. I get sort of like adrenal fatigue, where the anxiety's still there and I'm still feeling afraid and incapable and worried and nervous and having a lot of thoughts that don't help, like, I can't do this, I can't get through this, how am I going to cope, can I cope, oh my god, I've been through this so many times, I don't want to go here again, because there's always that fear, because I've experienced it so many times, I know how awful it is. There's resistance. It's like, oh, I'm sinking, oh, I can feel I'm going into a depressive phase, oh shit, sorry about the swearing, but that's just how it is. It's like I kind of know what's coming, and then I panic, because who wants to spend 12 to 18 months basically feeling suicidal, like there's no hope, even though there is. The feelings themselves are pretty crap. So that kind of precedes, that's how my episodes or phases begin. The anxiety picks up, and then I sort of crash, and the anxiety still continues, and then in combination with the anxiety is the depression and the lethargy and the disinterest in things and the brain fog and all of that kind of it like weaves together. Anxiety, depression, for me, they're kind of interwoven, and the two kind of coexist together, symbiosis. I don't know what that biological term is, but yeah, they coexist together. And how do I manage it? Well, I have a lot of journals. I could actually get them out of my boxes now. Should I do that? Yeah, I could. Anyway, I'll just let you know what I do. I journal a lot. I record what's happening for me in that day, how I'm feeling, what thoughts are going on in my head, what I'm doing to kind of counteract it. Any subtle shift that I notice prior to doing something, and then how I feel afterwards, even if it's only tiny or incremental, or even if, like I go for a walk or a run or do something to take my mind off how I'm feeling, I will notice a subtle, and sometimes it's very subtle, and other times it actually is quite a distinct improvement. And when I compare how I felt prior to the activity and after, there's quite a distinct improvement. So it's recognizing those times, and then it's reminding yourself to do those things like consistently. And even if it feels really like routine and rote and boring and predictable, and it's important to keep doing those things that and adding more of those things in, whatever they are for you. It can be very simple, can be, I don't know, like you sort of got to, everyone has to find what kind of works for them. For me, walking with music, although sometimes when I'm really anxious, that's not enough. I have to run. We've got a lot of adrenaline to burn. So it's more high aerobic, fast paced running. I sometimes go for like really long runs, although I haven't really. I mean, I take a combination, a holistic approach. So whilst I implement different activities, I also sometimes if I'm really bad, I will take like an anti-anxiety pill, and I kind of bring a whole lot of things together, do it all at the same time to try and bring that anxiety down. Yeah, and